Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So we're coming back to Mathmech for our Season 27 deck profile, and the more keenly observant among you might already notice one of the big changes I've made to this deck. It's not a big change in terms of the quantity of cards, but I did finally decide to. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I'm finally going to give Microcoder and Cynet Conflict another shot in this deck. Historically, I have not been the biggest fan of these cards, as the play in order to set up the Cynet Conflicts, which, to be fair, you know, being an Omni-Negate counter trap is very good. It does require you to have Circular or Firewall Defensor, one of these two cards, plus another Extender, which that play normally I would go into the Firewall Dragon Singularity, but this build, instead of going into Singularity plus Terahertz, aims to put down the Terahertz plus the Heat Soul, of course, for the Super Factorial, and then in conjunction with the Cynet's Conflict there as well. Basically, the way that you do it is you do kind of the same combo line as setting up the Singularity, except you actually don't use Splash Mage's effect until the very end, because you actually don't need to use Splash Mage's effect until the very end. So basically, the idea is at the end of your combo line, right, your kind of standard two-card Mathmech combo line, you'll have the Terahertz and an unused Splash Mage, right? So what you can do is you can then use Terahertz to send the Microcoder from your deck to the graveyard. Then you use Splash Mage to bring back the Microcoder. Microcoder says if this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard as material for a Link monster, because it can be sent from the hand by its own effect, you can either add a Cynet spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, or if this card is sent from the field as material, you can add a level 4 Cyberse monster instead. So basically what this means is once you use Terahertz to send the Microcoder and Splash Mage to bring it back, you can link off Microcoder with Splash Mage to make the Heat Soul. Then you can use Microcoder's effect to search the Cynet Conflict. Now you have the Code Talker monster on the field as well, in the form of the Heat Soul there. Also on top of that, if you already have Cynet Conflict in your hand, you could also just grab like another Circular for follow-up plays as well. So, I mean, either way, it's a pretty good effect, but do note that you only get the monster search if you send Microcoder from the field to the graveyard. But if Microcoder is in your hand, you could still use it as a link material, and if sent from the hand that way, you can actually still grab the Cynet Conflict. So, in that regard, it does end up being a pretty solid card, regardless of whether you open it or if you have to go into it. But remember, to be able to set it up without opening it, you do have to open Circular or Defensor plus another Extender there. This does actually also end up being a post-banless build, funnily enough. I almost forgot until right before I started, you know, going for the video here. I'm like, oh yeah, Parallel Exceed is at 3, or at 2 in a little while, not 3 anymore. It's such a minor, like, non-impact for this deck, or at least I imagine it will be, because I've actually not played any games yet. I'm sure you're thinking, well, Hex, why'd you start the video if you don't have any replays to show us? Because I'm actually going to be playing some games live here on the YouTube channel. It's not something I've done for quite a while, actually. Definitely not since I started streaming. But I've had a couple of comments in recent weeks asking if I would do live gameplay on the YouTube channel again. And it's like, yeah, why not? It's a lot of fun. So I figured Mathmech would be a good deck for me to do that with, especially, again, wanting to try out the Microcoder and Cynet Conflict. I've played these cards before in the past. It's just that when I played them in the past, I wasn't the most impressed with them, but that was also a long while ago. And one thing that I like to do when it comes to different builds for a deck, right, is even if there's a build I don't like as much, if it's been a while since I've used it, I still like to come back to it just to check in on how I feel about it, because, you know, not only could, like, your own feelings about a build change, but also certain techs or builds could be better or worse in certain metagames, right? So I think overall, for, like, you know, both objective and subjective reasons, it's important to make sure that, you know, I'm not just, like, you know, staunchly being like, Microcoder and Cynet Conflict are bad, and I'm never ever going to play them ever. No, it's definitely, well, one, they're definitely not bad. Like, even if it's a tech choice that I historically haven't preferred, people definitely do get results playing these cards. It's like, it's definitely not unoptimal by any means. And furthermore, on top of that, it's like, again, just trying to keep an open mind, I think, is the most important part when it comes to, one of the most important things when it comes to being a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player in general, right? It's so easy to get, like, pigeonholed into like your pet deck or your specific build for a deck, and again be like, well, all the other builds aren't as good, this one is good. But it's like, you know, in order to make sure that's still true, even if you're not interested in, like, you know, branching into a new deck build, I think it's still important to, even if you think it's worse, make sure it is still worse, you know, and not just rely on, you know, an opinion you formed months ago. Oh, one other thing that is different about the extra deck, because obviously we do not have the Firewall Dragon Singularity anymore, I decided to include a copy of number 41 Baguska, the terribly tired tapier. This card I think is pretty good for Mathmech. It gives them a play under Max C, which the deck currently doesn't really have unless you open Circular plus Diameter or Cynet Conflict or Small World. Basically, if you don't open Circular plus Diameter or a way to search it, then yeah, then you are definitely going to need to be able to go into a Baguska, because it's about the only option you really have at that point. I guess one other thing I do want to say about the deck is, let's talk about Circular for a second. This card, Parallel Exceed going to 2 while Circular is still at 3 is, like, wild to me. I've said this before. I've said it multiple times, even recently, and I'll say it again. I love Mathmech. This is, like, one of my favorite decks in the meta right now. It's a ton of fun. It's a blast. I love Cyber's cards. They're really cool. Mathmech Circular, key cornerstone to Cyber strategies, and definitely to Mathmech. This card needs to go to 1. This card is, like, way too good to be at 3. I don't think it needs to be banned. I don't think it's that good. But I do think that Circular probably does end up needing to go to 1. Although, to be fair, I did see a comment recently that was making kind of a good point, too, that's like, does Circular really need to go to 1 anymore? Like, it might have needed to be at 1 in the past, but with current, you know, power creep coming up, especially with the Snake Eyes deck and upcoming strategies, like, maybe Mathmech can just keep 3 Circular to compete. And to be fair, that is a pretty good point. One, I think, kind of bad habit that I have, that I think a lot of players have, honestly, again, myself included, is that we tend to think about a card's relevancy only in the current or the most recent metas. It's also important to look ahead to the future and think about how a deck will perform in future metas. And when I think about it that way, I believe it was Kenny, actually, that left that comment. When I think about it that way, like that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, and even in this current meta, like, yeah, 3 Circular is really, really good, and, like, even within this current meta, I think it probably could get limited, definitely instead of Parallel Exceed getting semi'd, but it's like, is Mathmech really oppressive with 3 Circular even right now? The answer is definitely no. There's a lot better decks out there than Mathmech. There's, like, I would argue that, you know, well, you know, on my last tier list I just made, right, I had Mathmech at the top of tier 2, but I still had 4 other decks above it. And not just even in terms of power level, but in terms of, like, what Mathmech does, I think it's fine, honestly. Like, people will complain about Mathmech. It's like, oh, it just plays through, like, every hand trap. And it's like, even that, I'm like, not really. It's like, it can play through a lot of hand traps, but a lot of the time it just comes down to timing. Like, I mean, that's something that's true of not just what people say about Mathmech, but in general. When people were like, oh, this deck I played against just played right through my hand traps, or, you know, this board that I built on turn 1, it's like, okay, well, did they play through it, or did you just shotgun all of your disruptions? Because people do that a lot. Like, even in the upper ranks, I'll see people just... I made a whole video about Mathmech and how, you know, even if you don't think building the turn 1 board is skillful, using Mathmech's disruptions on your opponent's turn is 100% a skill. That's a skill, I don't know, I promise I'll say this last piece and then we'll actually look at some Mathmech games here. But one thing I think a skill that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players as a whole criminally undervalue is utilizing the board of multiple negates. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players will be like, oh, you just make all the negates and then you auto-win, which I really don't like the phrases auto-win and auto-lose. They're very disingenuous, especially because I have had many situations where I go up against a board full of negates, where the opponent is probably very confident that they can win, and then I'm just able to play through it, either because I have the gas, you know, to do so in hand, or because they don't use their negates at the right moment. It's very, very crucial. It's a very important skill to have, and one that literally nobody talks. I never see people talking about that, which I think is kind of disingenuous. But anyway, now that I've gotten that rant out of the way, let's go ahead and break this list down card by card. And then, like I said, we're going to be playing some live games. These are actually going to be my first games on the ladder for this season, so you'll get to join me as I start off here. So For this build, we are on 2 Effect Veiler, 1 Dotscaper, 1 Microcoder, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom and a Joyous Spring, 1 Firewall Guardian, 1 Mathmech Sigma, 1 Mathmech Addition, 1 Mathmech Subtraction, 1 Mathmech Multiplication, 1 Mathmech Diameter, 3 Mathmech Circular, 3 Firewall Defensor, 2 Parallel Exceed. I just realized, oh no, I do have Firewall Guardian. It was up here. I got a little scared for a second. I was like, oh no, did I forget Guardian? No, it's just up here. Okay. We have the 2 Parallel Exceed, 1 Nibiru, the Primal Being, 2 Signet Mining, 1 Mathmech Equation, 2 Triple Tactics Talent, 3 Small World, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Cross-Out Designator, 2 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Mathmech Superfactorial, and then a Psynet Conflict. That's going to do it for our main deck. For the extra, we're on a Cyber's D-Save Worm, 1 number 41 Baguska, the terribly tired Tapir, 1 Primethec Laplation, 1 Primethec Alimbertion, 1 Mirrorlogic Aggregator, 1 Salmon Great Almirage, 1 Linguribo, 1 Link Decoder, 1 Update Jammer, 1 Splash Mage, 1 G Golden Crystal Heart, 1 Transcode Talker, 1 Decode Talker Heat Soul, 1 Access Code Talker, and then finally 1 Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest Terahertz. That's going to do it for our list. Again, we're going to pop into these live duels over here now. Alright, here we are. I'm going to click on Ranked Duel and the thing will come up. Yeah, there it is. So you can see that this is in fact going to be me hopping right into Season 27. Let's go ahead and swap over to... oh, it's up here, duh, right at the top. Mathmech. And jump right in. It's kind of interesting. Like I said, it's been a while me live commenting over a game that wasn't on Twitch. I keep wanting to look over and see what people are saying in chat, but of course we don't have that right now. So, looks like we were winning the first coin flip here. We're going to take the first turn. Love to see it. Let's see how well we open. Let's see if we can do the microcoder setup with this hand. I see Circular. I see Extenders. We can absolutely do that setup. We have Veiler and C as well. I would like an Ash Blossom ideally. I'm a little scared of them having Maxi too, but you know what? It's probably not going to be, hopefully won't be that big of a deal. Definitely going to want to lead with the Circular here and not the Firewall Defensor, because Defensor is going to commit our normal summon, and I don't want to do that this early, right? I want to ideally normal summon Diameter. I'm going to set my toggle to auto as well. I have it default set to on because, of course, playing Wanted in so many decks, you know, you want to have it set to on for a draw phase to play around Droll, but... Okay, Circular F, of course, we're going to add the Superfactorial here. But it's got something. It's Veiler. Okay, if they're using it on Circular, that is 100% fine. I can definitely still set up my Superfactorial with this. Hopefully that's the only hand trap they have. Okay, let's see here. So I think that means we have to go into Alimbertion next. And then add the Superfactorial, and then we can normal summon Defensor and keep going with our line. Yeah, we'll do it that way. We're going to still set up the Superfactorial, if this doesn't get negated. We can do so by sending Diameter to the graveyard with Terahertz a little bit later. So we're going to add a Mathmech card, right? Detaching these, let's see if they have a response. They could still have an Ash Blossom. Looks like they do. Oh, it's another Veiler. Okay. Alright, so no Superfactorial setup, but this is fine because now they're on 2 less cards that they're starting with. We still have a lot of plays, even if we can't set up Superfactorial, and we still also have our own Veiler and C here. So, let me just double check for a second. Make sure I want to use my normal summon on this Defensor. I do because I don't have the ability to search out Diameter anymore, so I'm going to normal summon the Firewall Defensor. Now I'm going to link it off for the Linguribo. And basically, I'm going to build... Oh, because I have the Parallel Exceed too? That's actually insane. I'm trying to figure out if I even want to activate Parallel Exceed here. I think I do, yeah. It's definitely... I think it's better to do it than not. Well, they had an Ash Blossom too. You know what's funny is I like just talked about how like, oh, well, you know, it's all about timing, right? Well, you know, I think it is all about timing here. I think my opponent definitely could have timed their negates a lot better. Yeah, and then they're just going to concede. Double Veiler Ash Blossom probably should have been able to stop this turn, by the way. I definitely don't think that they should have used the Effect Veiler, the first one on the Circular. I think it's almost always a mistake to negate this card's search. because of what I was demonstrating as the follow-up, right? Like, even if you negate Circular Search, they can just use the Allen Burschen to grab the superfactorial, and then the terahertz to still dump the diameter, and they will still have their full setup. So I wouldn't have valored this. I do think negating the Allen Burschen was correct, and it might seem a little risky to give me the superfactorial and not negate, which, to be fair, it might. At the same time, I also understand my opponent, like, you know, wanting to, having all those negates and, like, using them so freely. I kind of understand that, too. Like, if you open double Valor Ash. But at the same time, like, think about especially that last Ash Blossom on the Firewall Defensor. I don't think it was good at all. Because even if it had been negated, right, I obviously still have more extension. And even if it was negated, I didn't have Parallel Exceed in hand, right? Then I would still have, let's see, because that negated the Guardian, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so I still would have had the Lingeribo and Allen Burschen on the field, link into Splash Mage bring back, I don't know, Defensor, any of the level 4 lower Cyberses, go into Link Decoder. I could still set up a Terahertz even if I didn't have Parallel Exceed in hand. So I think that although they had a lot of them, and I understand why they used them the way they did for that reason, they could have still used them a lot better. Alright, let's just, I'm just gonna go straight into the next game here. Like, hopefully not even have to cut here. It'd be nice if I could just do all these games in a... Well, see, the games I would want to cut would be kind of games like the last one, but at least with the last game I can explain why I was able to play through all of my opponent's disruption despite them having so much of it. I do think they could have played it better, and I think if they had played it better, they would have stood a pretty good shot of winning. I also don't know what was in their hand. I guess because I've also looked at what they were playing. But anyway, we're going second this time, so let's see how we open here. Okay, we have C and Ash Blossom. I'm going to hold my toggle to off to hide my Max C here for a second. It looks like they might have something here. Oh, do they have a Wanted? I'm not going to Ash Blossom a Wanted if they throw it out. But if they throw out a Wanted, I will want to make sure that I Max C before it gets to their main phase. Because I already have gas in hand, so I don't really need to use Max C too badly here. Lab, okay. We have the Ash Blossom, so that's pretty good. Set 1, okay. Set 2, okay. Set 3? Okay, set 3. Set monster. That's interesting. What monster would Labyrinth want to set and not keep in their hand? Is it like random furniture and they value these 3 back row more highly than setting up a welcome? That's a really good draw. Alright, we can put this back on auto now. What monster would Lab want to set and not summon or keep in hand as, or like discard, you know? It's like, it's interesting. Okay, so against Lab, we have a pretty good matchup. I think my first priority here is going to be, honestly, to try to get Lingeribo on the field. So I'm just gonna lead with Circular. It's like, I think it's always right to lead with Circular pretty much every single time, especially between that and Firewall Defensor. I'm not even gonna Synapse Mining just yet because I don't necessarily know what I want from it, if that makes any sense. So, all right, big welcome Lab. I am going to Ash Blossom that and hope they don't have another welcome. But if they do, I have a Max C, so I can at least cycle it for a draw. Okay, they don't have anything in response. That's good. They do have another Trap Guard, but they're not activating it. Okay. I'm going to bring back Sigma while I don't have anything in my EMZ. With this Circular, I'm definitely going to want to search... This is actually kind of interesting. Normally on turn 2, I'll grab Equation for extension, but we have so much gas in our hand. I think it's actually correct to grab Superfactorial in case things go wrong and we can't lethal here. I think that's actually correct. Yeah, I'm going to add this. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go straight for Lingeribo here. Because what I can do is I can activate Addition, and then I'll use that on Sigma, and I can use that to make Allen Burschen and still not use my normal summon. I'm just trying to think here. Well, you know what? I'm definitely going to make Lingeribo first. I want this. Oh, you know what? I can actually use Synapse Mining. Yeah, I'm going to do it this way, right? I want Lingeribo on the field ASAP. Just being able to stop their trap cards, of course, comes at a premium here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate my Cynet Mining, and I'm actually going to discard Firewall Defensor. That looks really weird, but I'm going to add Diameter here and then normal it and set up another negate. Okay, they're going to imperm on the Ling in response. That's fine. Yeah, that's 100% fine. Because even if it's negated, I can still use Link Reaper as a material. That's interesting. I wonder what their last back row is then. Because we still haven't normal summoned, by the way. Fun fact. Fun fact, we still have not normal summoned. Of course, adding the Diameter will also set up my Super Factorial here as well. Doesn't really matter. It might have mattered. I maybe should have gotten Firewall Defensor. Actually, it definitely mattered. Why didn't I get Firewall Defensor? Well, because I'm going to overlay. No, I could have linked off the Firewall Defensor. Yeah, that was a huge misplay on my part. It's Cannon. It's the Karma Cannon. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense, right? Alright, there goes the Ling. Ah, got it. Unfortunately, now I actually can't set up the Super Factorial. I really should have thought of that. I'll just set this here. Yeah, I should have thought about Karma Cannon specifically, honestly. Especially after the impermed, it's like that would have made the most sense. But now at least they're in top deck mode. And if nothing else, we have a Max C. And a bunch of bodies still, and an addition. It was furniture, okay? Okay, this is fine. Solemn Judgment, okay? So they will get a welcome, and they'll be able to destroy one card. But we will also have a live Super Factorial on our turn, and we'll be able to cycle this C. I'm not particularly worried about our position here. That's a good draw. That's a fine draw. It's like not particularly great, but... Alright, Welcome Lab. We don't have the Ash Blossom this time, but I will cycle this Max C. Get another draw here. I was gonna say, they don't have priority, do they? The game paused for a moment there. And thankfully this is... Well, actually, it would be better if it was like... Wait, they summoned Ariana? And not, Lovely? That's interesting. Okay. That's interesting and 100% fine. Yeah, they don't get the stove back because... Oh, wait, yeah, they do, don't they? Because it's part of the Welcome Lab effect. Oh, I see, I see. They're adding Lady. This makes more sense. I guess. I get to add another defensive body to the board. Alright. Oh, and and now they have the bounce from the big welcome. I was gonna say, why did they get past priority? They don't have a graveyard effect, I just looked. They do now because they have a big... I got it, that makes sense. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's like... This is still fine. Let's, Does it actually matter what order we flip some of these in? Not really. Let's start by flipping up Diameter. I'll flip up Diameter and then Sigma. Alright, and then now that I've gotten priority, let me just go straight into the Alimbertion. And I have far more than enough materials here to combo out with this Omni Negate on the board. Especially after this search here. Just grab some traction here, I think. Okay, yeah, they're just going to concede here. So yeah, that was not too bad at all. So it looked a little dicey for a second there, but like, you know... When you see Lab start off by setting a monster, it's like, that was really, I guess to be fair, that was really interesting that they set the stove, but also kind of made sense. Because their back rows were what? Imperm, Cannon, and Big Welcome? It's like, I mean, that actually makes sense. Like, you don't really particularly want regular Welcome over Imperm or Cannon there, I think, especially going first. I could see maybe valuing the Welcome Lab over the Field Spell more, but I'm not enough of a Lab player to know if it was correct to send the stove with the Field Spell and set the regular Welcome. Well, but also... Well, I was going to say you would need a monster to bounce for Big Welcome, but not necessarily if you just bounce and then summon Lady. Then you could have started by activating regular Welcome for Lovely. I would have ashed it. Then you can use Big Welcome for the Lady. I don't know if that would have been as good. Again, I'm not enough of a Lab player to know that. Okay. Cool, yeah. I would love to be able to keep going without having to do too many cuts and editing, like I said before. So let's just hop on into the next game here. This is fun. I should do this more often. I really should too. I don't know. Well, it's because I started streaming, right? Like, that's kind of why because I figure, like, oh, if I'm, that's, you know. And if you do want to see me play more live games, feel free to check out the description where you'll find my Twitch page as well as my VOD channel. You can see a lot more live gameplay on either of those platforms there. But being able to talk about my plays and also not have to look at chat is also not too shabby. I will say, as much as I do like hanging out with folks in chat, my gameplay does take a noticeable, suffers a little bit noticeably from the talking to people there. Okay, cashier unicorn. I usually just imperm this and hedge. It's like, I could wait for the era on my turn if I think they already have Theosis in hand, but I'm just like, fuck it, whatever. Let's just make them have the answer or the extender, you know? If they have it, they have it. If they don't, they don't. Oh, it's Speedroids. Oh, interesting. Speedroid wheel. Add 1 or 2 Speedroid monsters whose total levels equal the result, but they're negate. Oh, special summon, not add. I thought it said add. Okay. I don't know too much about this deck. It's kind of fascinating that they have like an RNG card as part of the combo line. You gotta like deck build around that. That's kind of cool. I like that. Baron de Fleur, normal summoning another red-eyed dice. Okay. Linking them for the rubber band shooter. That makes sense. If I'd known it was Speedroid, I definitely would have... Well, would I definitely... Yeah, I think I definitely would have saved the Imperm for this. Well, to be fair, they have the Baron out now, but I usually like to, if I know it's Speedroid, save the Imperm for the rubber band shooter. I feel like this is their most impactful card, but... Or at least their most impactful monster effect you can negate. Okay, so they sent Takutan Borg meaning... Okay, I added the other one. But they're both level 3s, right? Oh, but this one is a tuner, I see. I don't know if that's going to end up mattering. I guess we'll see. No, it's not. Okay. Ah, they're doing a whole ass line here. Okay. Oh, yeah, well, well, again, they have the Baron here, so... Holding Imperm wouldn't have saved me anyway. Okay, so thinking about how I'm going to play through this turn. We've got Multiplication, Addition, Parallel Exceed, Called By... you know, if I draw Defensor or Circular, I don't actually hate my position, but it's going to be a struggle either way. I'm just thinking about, okay, what do I have now? I can normal summon Multiplication, link it off for Lingarimo, activate Parallel Exceed, gets the game destroyed by Baron, special Auroradon, or Auroradon Addition, Jesus, and then... Link for Splash Mage, bring back Addition, link it to Link Decoder, go to Terahertz Multiplication. Well, no, we can't do Terahertz Multiplication because we opened Multiplication. Oh, that might be a problem then. To be fair, also, with the current board state, we wouldn't have an OTK with Terahertz Multiplication anyway, but I imagine they'll probably end on a attack mode monster with 3,000 or less attack. We'll see. I mean, that would be an issue for winning this turn, but I might still be able to wrest control of the game back. But that's also assuming that the Baron is going to be their only negate, and I have a hard time imagining that's going to be the case here. 1, 2, 3, 3, so that's 6, 8, 9. Oh, and then also the level 3 tuner they have as well. They're sticking for a 3 here. That's a Material Metal Marger. It's another Synchro tuner. I can make Trishula and then another level 10? No. They're making a 4. Oh, is this, Oh, no, okay, it's a speed. I was worried this was gonna be Cupid Pitch for a second. I think this is the first time I've seen Speedroid, like, full combo. Okay, that was, what, 3 plus 4 plus 5? So that's, yeah, 12. Oh, it's Blazar. Okay, I thought it was gonna be the, Actually, I think it was going to be Crimson Dragon for a second. I was like, am I about to get Calamity? Okay, so I have to deal with 2 Omni Negates. Okay. You know, that combo line looked really scary, but for as many cards that it involves, 2 Omni Negates for your end board is like... This doesn't have a negate, does it? No. I don't think so. Oh my god, literal worst possible top deck. That's brutal. If that had been Defensor or Circular, I think I could have played through this, honestly. Well... God, it really was the second Parallel Exceed, though. That's brutal. It only pulls from deck, too. Oh, okay, so these... Not only... Oh, my God, so these are just nothing anymore. Well, no, I can still special them. It's an extra material, but, like... Okay. I'm gonna activate cards for a little bit here. Like, I'm just gonna play cards for a bit. And then, I'll probably concede here in a moment. Does it matter if I go for Almirage here? No, I don't think it does. You actually do want to go for Almirage when possible. I like saving Linguribo for... Well, that's more for turn 1 for having this part of your end board. Because they can negate the summon with Blazer. I was trying to figure out why I hadn't been asked to special the Parallel Exceed just yet. There we go. Answered my own question in my brain. I could, in theory, maybe still multiplication... No. Okay, they're going to use the Baron on the Parallel Exceed. Okay. But then I just Quasar, or I mean Blazar, that one. Well, maybe they don't Blazar the addition because I have 2 other cards in my hand. Let's find out. Okay, they don't. There's no reason to make Link Decoder just yet. Let's make Splash. I mean, I'm gonna lose this duel, but like... I don't know, sometimes I like to just keep playing and see like how close I was. Not just to like, oh, just see, but also because I do think there is merit to that. Wait a second, hold on. I might actually see a path to victory here. If I go straight into transcode and they let it go... Yeah. Hang on, let me try something. I have an idea. It might even be a good one. You negate. You don't negate. I battle over Blazar. Main phase 2. Yo, hold on a second. Oh, but this can end the battle phase. It can just negate the attack and then come back. I forgot about that. Okay. But we're not dead. Most importantly, we survived our opponent's turn. Hold on a second. There's no shot I can actually, like, make a comeback, is there? There might actually... Hold on a second. Okay, I can use access code and blow up 3 of my opponent's cards. 1, 2... I'm probably just the token, honestly. No, the rates off and keep the token on the field, and then that way they don't have, like, Kashtira monsters for plays. Yeah, let's do it that way. This will be 5,300, so Blazar can't battle over it. Yo, hang on a second. Hold on a second. I might have actually found the line here. This is why I don't like conceding. Like, in general, I really don't a lot of the time. Alright, let's definitely get rid of the Baron. Like, we always just destroy this one. This doesn't have an effect when it gets destroyed, right? Nah, okay, but I definitely do want to get rid of this. I might actually keep my transcode in there to bring it back with G Golem. Leave the token on their field so they can't special a cash monster, and the rate stop doesn't do anything. Yeah. Blazar can't battle over this, but I can potentially... But I can pop it, because they can't respond to access code's effect. They have a bunch of stuff in the yard, so if they try to start plays, I might be able to call by and stop their plays that way. I might not lose this. I actually might not lose this. I'm not in a great position. Let me call by that. Okay, it resolves. Oh, wait, well, they didn't Blazar it. That's actually not a good sign. That makes me feel like they have plays anyway. Ah, they have Terratop, okay. Well, they normal summon to the Takaton board. Or they normal summon the Terratop. Because they control monsters. Ah, dang, they do just have plays anyway. But we were a lot closer to outing this board Maybe I should have just popped the rubber... No, I don't think that's actually going to end up doing anything here, though. Or not the rubber band shooter, the, I was going to say the token. But yeah, I don't think they're actually going to need the token to have follow-up plays here. Destroy all other cards in the field, negate the effects of all face-up cards. Oh, brutal. Okay, yeah, that's just probably going to be it. Dang, we were close. We were really close. Again, though, this is why I don't generally like conceding that much. Wait, we're not dead yet, are we? 39, 53. No, we are. Yeah, definitely. Okay. But that was close. That was close. That was closer than it might have been otherwise. Huh, we never really did the microcoder line, did we? I mean, I talked about it in the profile. I think that's probably good enough. We're also almost at 40 minutes here. And I know this video is going to be largely unedited, so I think I am probably just going to end up calling it there. Besides, I think the microcoder, it's not like this is a new card. I think people who are generally interested in Mathmech already know how to do this combo line. But if you want me to cover this build again in a future video and have me show the combo line, I can definitely do that. Just let me know in the comment section below. But I think that will go ahead and do it for this video. Thank you everyone so very much for watching these live games. And if you enjoyed this, I had a lot of fun recording this, actually. I forgot how different it was to do this as opposed to like talk to Twitch chat. Wow. Yeah, let's move on to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for supporting there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.